wanted to sit on a porch with my sister wives here on this property with our kids and our grandkids. And Kody running around like he does and just look at that mound together and having a family. I don't understand. I don't understand.
Oh wow. Where do I even start with this? First off, let's talk about Robyn. She's really out here acting like she didn't orchestrate the whole divide and conquer strategy. She drove away all the other wives, put up emotional and maybe literal walls between Kody and his other wives, and created this whole new family dynamic that fits her personal needs. But sure, let's all pretend that didn't happen, and she's just misunderstood. You know, the whole "I don't understand" and "this isn't what I wanted" narrative? Yeah, total BS. She's playing a game, and we're supposed to buy into her act that she's the innocent one caught in the crossfire. Classic. Then there's Kody, the self-proclaimed king of the household. He's got this delusion that he's the supreme ruler of everything, and all the women are just there to worship him and breed his legacy. But hey, he can't say that out loud, right? Instead, he wraps it in some flowery language about "ma feelings" and emotional needs, but we see through it. Robyn plays the same game. She wants everyone to adore her and her kids. But when it's time to put in the work for real relationships, she's all talk. She wants to be close to Meri. Please. The woman doesn't even send a text. It's like she's playing this long con where she gets sympathy points while being completely neglectful. And honestly, how does Robyn not see it? The whole thing is a mess, but she's pretending like she's oblivious. I mean, she had to have known that Kody was exclusively with her and her kids, while the rest of the wives were left in the dust. But instead of addressing it, she continues to act clueless, hoping everyone will buy her fake persona. And seriously, if she knew she was being seen as the villain from the start, wouldn't you think she'd change her approach by now? Nah, she just doubles down, gets worse, and passes on the same act to her daughters. It's like they've all been trained in the art of deception. Do you think they actually fight? Who knows? Everything we've seen is so heavily edited and sanitized. What I wouldn't give for one of them to just drop the act and go full throttle, lay everything out, and knock Kody and Robyn out of their little delusional bubble. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel Reality Nexus X. Oh, is Kody mad that everyone's just so thrilled to accept David? Yeah, I haven't seen anyone mention that little nugget before, but it's hard to imagine he's not seething on the inside. Can you imagine how annoyed Kody and Robyn must be seeing the kids actually getting along with David, laughing, smiling, and gassed treating him better than Robyn? Well, that's not really a surprise, is it? They've got plenty of reasons to be skeptical of Robyn. I bet it's a slap in the face for both of them every time they see David bonding with the kids. I mean, remember last season's tell-all when Kody actually thought David would come up to him and say, "Yeah, Christine's terrible," and Suki was like, "Oh no, that's not happening." Yeah, Kody's definitely going to have a meltdown when that doesn't go down. He's gonna be so upset. I'm here for it. It's wild though, isn't it? Kody truly thinks Christine is the villain in this story, and that he's just the chill guy who got stuck with the bad hand. He genuinely believes that David will side with him, because why wouldn't David hate Christine just as much as Kody does? Spoiler alert, that's not how it's gonna play out. Can you imagine Kody's face when David doesn't trash talk Christine, and instead just fits right in with the kids? I'm living for that moment. And let's talk about the real difference between Robyn and David. David joined the family. He didn't try to bulldoze through and change everything like Robyn did. He accepts the family dynamics and doesn't seem threatened by it. He's happy to share Christine and doesn't feel the need to try to monopolize her time or emotions. Meanwhile, Robyn waltzed in and stirred up drama. She had her kids calling Kody dad before they even got married, moved down the street as pretty much a mistress, and then immediately started complaining about how the kids treated her. Of course, Kody, ever the idiot, took her side when she whined about how mean the teenagers were to her and how they weren't thrilled about her pregnancy. Like, please, we all know why that's happening. And let's not forget how Kody rewarded Robyn's constant complaints with big perks, like a giant wedding reception, an 11-day honeymoon to Hawaii, and all the attention and time that he refused to give his other wives. Meanwhile, the kids were probably sitting at home, watching him dote on Robyn while they got the short end of the stick. I can't imagine how infuriating it must have been for them, especially when Kody is on some trip while there's a newborn at home. So much for family balance, huh? Now, here comes David, who doesn't have unreasonable expectations. He gets that he's not a replacement dad for the kids, and that's totally fine with him. He treats the kids as their own people, something Kody and Robyn seem incapable of doing. I bet a 5 spot that this comes up in the new season. Kody will probably throw a fit and say something like, "Where was this warmth for Robyn?" Maybe that's why Robyn dropped that "I'm just the idiot that got left behind" line in the teaser. She knows what's up. And before we get too deep into the weeds, let's give Robyn the tiniest bit of credit. She did become a stepmom when the kids were still in school. But David's situation, he's stepping in when most of the kids are already adults. The difference is obvious. Robyn didn't even want to bond with the other kids, aside from hers. Kody just let his own kids slip through the cracks as soon as she came along. So if the kids want any kind of paternal figure, guess what? David's their guy. Kody, he checked out a long time ago. And, of course, this is Kody we're talking about. Take away a little bit of attention, and his fragile ego can't handle it. I bet it drives him nuts seeing pictures of David bonding with the family and actually having a good time with everyone. Honestly, it's like a punch to his ego every time David doesn't fit into Kody's warped narrative. It's honestly hilarious. So Christine's the only one who's never lived monogamy. But hey, everyone else totally has, right? Watching season 2, when Robyn starts talking about how weird monogamy would be, I almost lost it. I mean, really, Robyn? You were monogamous for years, but suddenly it's a bizarre concept. Classic. That got me thinking. Every one of them, except Christine, has had their monogamous phase. Let's break it down. Kody and Meri? Oh, they were monogamous for the first 2 years of their marriage, or so the timeline suggests. But here's the twist. Meri was technically doing something like a different form of monogamy, since Kody was already actively looking for another wife. Janelle? Yeah, she had a brief monogamous stint, being married to Meri's brother for about 8 months to a year. Robyn? Well, she was married to her ex, so there's that. It's honestly wild to me that every single one of them has experienced monogamy at some point, except Christine. She literally says she didn't date anyone before Kody, so she never had that time where she was the only woman in someone's life. That would be a weird concept for her to grasp, right? The whole being the top priority thing? Yeah, she missed that experience. Until now, I guess. And then there's Robyn. Sweet, I'm the polygamy expert, Robyn. If I'm being honest, she's more of a polygamy light kind of gal. It's like she's all in, but never really had to sacrifice anything for the family, unlike the others. It's almost like she never had to actually live polygamy. Interesting. Now, Meri, did she even get to really experience monogamy though? I mean, if your marriage is centered around your husband constantly looking for another wife, does that even feel like monogamy? Sure, she had the wedding, but I'd put an asterisk on that claim. Because if I were in a monogamous marriage and my husband was out there actively finding other women, yeah, I'd be side-eyeing the whole monogamous part. It's actually kind of ironic, because Christine was the one who seemed like she could actually handle monogamy. Not Robyn, no way. Robyn's more like the tornado that shows up, messes everything up, and then pretends she's the expert. Just a thought. Janelle's NC property so, Janelle went and bought herself this massive 150-acre plot of land in North Carolina, and I can't help but dream of what could be. Imagine if she built the family compound that Coyote Pass was supposed to be. Maddie and my Kelty could each have their own houses, Janelle could have the big one, and there's more than enough room for any of the other brownies to come over and visit or even crash for a while. Now picture this, Janelle and Christine, sitting side by side on rocking chairs on the porch, watching their grandkids run wild while David's out back grilling away. Can you just feel the fire that would light up Crybro's face seeing that? Honestly, it would be priceless. And hey, she could even throw in a casita for visitors and storage, just for good measure. Please, universe, make this happen. Janelle is the one who was really putting in the work to get the Coyote Pass dream off the ground. So for her to pull this off and get herself some beautiful farmland would be the ultimate win. Honestly, I would pay an absurd amount of money just to see Robyn's reaction when she walks up and sees Christine and Janelle, surrounded by grandkids, living their best life on that porch. Robyn, truly the queen of bad acting and even worse storytelling. Let's talk about season 14 for a moment, where Robyn kept repeating like a broken record that she wanted to find a rental. Why? Oh, because she was so determined to build on Coyote Pass. At least, that's what she kept saying over and over and over again. Like if she said it enough, it would magically make it true. I can't help but laugh, knowing what we know now. She really thought that if she kept parroting lines like, God is going to provide us a rental, or I don't want to buy a house, people would just nod and say, oh, okay, Robyn said she didn't want a McMansion. She just wants to find a rental and build on Coyote Pass. Yeah, no. Sorry, Robyn, but you're a terrible liar and an even worse actress. That whole rental story was clearly just a cover-up for what was already happening behind the scenes. Let's take a moment to reflect on the entire move to Arizona, shall we? It made zero sense. They were living in a cozy little cul-de-sac. The kids were settled in their schools for years, and Maddie was living with Janelle while raising her baby. Things were actually working, but of course, we're expected to believe they needed to pack up and relocate. Sure, if you ignore the fact that there was only one person who stood to benefit from this whole ordeal, and that person? Definitely not Maddie and Caleb. It's especially frustrating when you remember that Maddie and Caleb were juggling school and a major health scare with Caleb, so they asked Janelle for help. They wanted family support, something that apparently Kody didn't think they deserved. He was like, all right, good luck with that. I'm off to do whatever I do. Meanwhile, Janelle's actually being a supportive parent, opening her home to her kids, and giving them the help they so desperately needed. Maddie and Caleb are the real MVPs here, not Kody. Now, let's get to the juicy part, the house they ended up buying. Funny how it just so happened to be the exact size Robyn wanted, and right near Coyote Pass. Oh, and let's not forget the timing. What a coincidence that it was right when they were supposedly still searching for a rental. I have a little theory. I think they saw this McMansion pop up for sale, and it was just too perfect to pass up. Forget the lease, forget finding a rental. They found their dream home and bought it. And the whole rental story was just a bunch of fake drama to cover up what they'd already planned. Seriously, just watch some of those episodes where Robyn's blabbing about God providing them a rental. It's like she's trying to cover her tracks, knowing full well that the house was already on the market, and the only thing she had to worry about was making sure her story didn't fall apart. Spoiler alert, it did. So I'm rewatching some episodes, and I can't help but chuckle at the delusion that was Kody's take on intimacy. Christine casually tells us that Kody doesn't want anything bouncy with her anymore. Oh, but don't worry, he still wants her to be his wife, just without, the whole wife experience. Apparently, since she's still spiritually married to him, she's bound by her vows to remain faithful. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds like Kody gets to sleep with R and J, but Christine, Well, she's on a sex ban, like some kind of Mormon nun. Can you believe this guy? He actually expected Christine to just be a devoted wife and, live in a celibate prison for the rest of her life. Oh, Kody, you're such a charmer. Misogynistic, narcissistic, pathological liar with bad hair. Like he looks like he'd be sticky if you ever touched him. What an intellectual void wrapped in a disaster of a human being. It's pretty clear to me that Kody was punishing Meri and Christine by denying them intimacy whenever they didn't behave. Classic emotional abuse, right? It's like he thought withholding affection would magically make them fall in line. Well, it led Meri down the internet rabbit hole to find love, which of course backfired in spectacular fashion. And for Christine? Yeah, that was one of the last straws. She wasn't going to sit there and take his emotional abuse like Meri. Kudos to her for not sticking around in that circus. Now, let's talk about Robyn and that gem she dropped at the tell-all. She tried to spin this narrative about how his other wives weren't exactly jumping into bed with him, when in reality, it was Kody who was playing the no affection for you game. Classic Kody move. Twist the truth to make himself look like the victim. And then, oh, this one gets me, he actually had the audacity to compare Christine to Meri. Like, Meri does it. Why can't you be like Meri and I? Christine, to her credit, shut that down real quick, saying, oh no, I don't want that kind of heartbreaking relationship. So Kody, ever the romantic, throws in, well, then leave, but stay in Flagstaff. Because, I need you around to keep my big picture intact. Translation: stick around while I parade my relationship with Robyn in your face. Because, of course, that's what any self-respecting husband would want. Oh, Janelle. After rewatching the show, I can't even begin to understand how someone can claim to be this smart and logical one and still make such baffling decisions. Seriously, how do you go on about being the brains of the group and then let yourself get repeatedly screwed over, especially when your kids are involved? A truly smart, logical person wouldn't let themselves get financially and physically used without some kind of legal protection. But here we are. Janelle's supposed to be the sharp one, right? Let's be real. Janelle came from a pretty well-off family. She was financially independent, owned her own house in her early 20s, and was honestly stunning back in the day. She had options, could have married someone who wasn't a total disaster. But instead, she got sucked into this Mormon cult that convinced her it was a great idea to have a man get her pregnant multiple times. No legal strings attached, work full-time to pay his bills, and tag along while he made one terrible financial decision after another. She could have been living a totally different life, but nope. I get that Meri and Christine were raised in this religion and heavily indoctrinated, which gives them a bit of a pass. But Janelle, she had a normal upbringing. She wasn't born into this mess, so why did she fall for it? Especially when it was obvious she was always going to get the short end of the stick as the second wife doing all the heavy lifting. When she cries about having no assets, I can't even feel bad for her. She set herself up to be used. Kody needed her for physical intimacy, but clearly not for financial help. It's like she's just checked out mentally and doesn't realize that being logical doesn't mean having zero common sense. Just because you can be the calm one in the room doesn't mean you're the smart one. I honestly think Janelle's version of logical is just not having emotional outbursts, rather than, actually thinking things through. So while she might have a steady demeanor compared to the others, it doesn't make her some kind of genius. It's just a contrast. Kody probably uses the word respect the same way, meaning obedience, but let's not dive into that mess. It's not even that Janelle isn't smart. It's more that she has a massive lack of common sense. If she had any clue about business or technical writing, which, by the way, I taught for years, she would have made sure their business plan didn't look like it was thrown together by a group of freshmen. She knew the business was failing, but instead of pulling out, she let Kody bully her back into it because Robyn was upset. Classic Janelle, she's a coaster. She has the knowledge, but she doesn't apply it. She just floats along. And the whole bankruptcy situation, sure, things happen, and people end up in financial trouble. But Janelle was the one supposed to be in charge of their finances. And then there was the whole no insurance for the kids' move. Again, not exactly the smartest. It's almost like Janelle just didn't put in the effort. Her energy was all drained from her 9 to 5, and when she clocked out, her brain checked out too. She didn't fight for what was right. She just existed. I honestly think Christine had more sense than Janelle. Christine needed a bit more direction, but she had a better head on her shoulders overall. Janelle? Not so much. Meri really drew the shortest straw in this whole family, though I'm not saying this out of pity or condescension because, trust me, she's a strong woman. But honestly, I can't help but feel for her when it comes to how she's been treated by the family. She always wanted more kids, but Kody shut that down, and she ended up with just one child. She took COVID protocols seriously, alone, in her own house, while everyone else went about their lives. And when the houses were split up, she was left to handle everything on her own. It wasn't about loyalty to Kody. She was one of the most loyal wives out there. And what did she get in return? Nothing. Meri was the first wife, and she sacrificed her marriage so the family could grow. That kind of selflessness honestly brought tears to my eyes. Sure, she played a role in pushing Kody into polygamy, but when you think about everything she gave, it's hard not to feel like she ended up giving the most while getting the least in return. I'm happy for her now, though. She's finding herself, making friends, and living her life in a way that works for her. But when I think about the family she and Kody created together, I can't help but feel bad. Let's not even get started on how she worked and contributed financially, always receiving less than the others. She took care of the kids, but her experience was totally different. She only had Leon, so her benefit was a far cry from Janelle's with 6 kids to care for. She was the first wife, but also the one who got shoved into the basement. Oh, go live in a shed behind me and Robyn's McMansion. Like that's just a normal thing to say to someone you've been married to. The disrespect she endured was insane. And let's be clear, I don't buy for a second that Meri pushed Kody into polygamy. No way. He totally gaslit her into thinking it was her idea. The man is a master manipulator. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.